Are you a self-taught data scientist or you're trying to become one? Well, this video is for you because I am going to talk about what are some of the problematic areas when it comes to self-teaching data science and how you can avoid it. And if you like the content in today's video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to hear more similar content related to data science and tech. So before we actually talk about what are the gaps, let's actually talk about the definition of what a self-taught person is. And that could be a self-taught data scientist, self-taught programmer, self-taught web developer, self-taught data analyst. It could be anything. So according to Google, a self-taught person is somebody who takes their own initiative and defines their own curriculum for learning something. So when we applied that definition to data science, this basically means that instead of you going through a guided program, such as like a degree program where a lot of the curriculum and coursework is already defined, the teachers are basically already decided who is going to teach what is going to be taught in the course. When somebody is doing self-teaching themselves data science, they actually have to build their own curriculum and they have to figure out what are the resources to use when it comes to learning data science. And one of the biggest problems when it comes to learning is that data science has become a hot topic. Compared to 2008 or 2014, when this term was introduced, data science job family has picked up quite a bit. And there are so much information around this topic. There are so many courses, online courses, YouTube videos, as well as blog write-ups, you name it. There is a lot of information out there, and it is very hard to sift through that information and figure out what exactly are you supposed to learn first. So that leads to the first problem where you need to actually figure out what the curriculum for a data scientist should look like. My tip here would be for anybody who is trying to figure out their curriculum, I would say narrow down your focus. As I mentioned in my previous videos, data science is a huge job family. So there are so many roles within the data science job family. So one thing that you need to do before you actually develop that curriculum, you need to figure out what role do you want to be in the data science domain. Do you want to be a data scientist generalist, a data analyst, machine learning scientist, applied scientist, research scientist, statistician, you name it. There are so many roles within it. So the first thing you need to narrow down is figure out which role you want to be. Second, look at the job description. Let's say your ideal company, your ideal role. Look at the job description and read through some of those job descriptions and see what are the skills required. And then go on LinkedIn and read through the backgrounds of people who are already working in that role. That should give you a very solid idea of what your curriculum should look like. So once you have developed that, you can actually have a solid plan of what you need to learn. The second reason why the self-teaching data science fails is something called tutorial trap, where you start taking a tutorial. Let's say you took an online course and now you feel like, let's say the first concept that you decided to learn is from statistics, probability. You took one tutorial on probability and you moved on to the next topic and now you're learning about A/B testing. So you're moving from topic to topic. You're going from one tutorial to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. And you start feeling like you know everything because those tutorials make it so easy for you to grasp knowledge. However, when you're given the actual work, when you have to actually apply it, everything goes away. You don't even know, I remember when I made that mistake, I didn't even know, I almost forgot how to write hello world in Python. I'm exaggerating, but that's the whole idea. When watching something on your screen, learning about probability is completely different than you given a problem and you trying to solve it. And given that in self-teaching, you have to be your own basically guide. In a university program, let's say if you were to do data science and take courses there, they would actually give you homework and they would give you projects to actually do after each lesson. But in the self-teaching route, you are not getting homework from somebody and you're not getting a dinged for points if you don't apply a skill that you learn. So there's a lot more chances of you getting into tutorial trap where you actually went through the entire curriculum, watched tutorial after tutorial, and at the end of it, you're thinking that you're done, you know everything. But when it actually comes time to do it, everything vanishes from your head because watching it is one thing, but applying it is another thing, because the chances are when you're going to start doing it, let's say the linear regression, doing the linear regression is just one line of code, but there is so much around it. There are so many problems that you can run into that only when you do it, you're actually going to figure out what those problems are and how to navigate through it. Which brings me to my third mistake where a lot of self-taught data science learnings fail is lack of practical knowledge. And this point is somewhat related to the tutorial trap. So because of the tutorial trap, you kind of go into this phase where you don't have a lot of practical knowledge. So you end up finishing the course, but you don't have any practical knowledge to show that you learned something, and you're not able to retain that skill very well, whatever you learn, because you learn by doing it. So if you're not doing it, you are possibly feeling like that you know it in that moment while you're watching the tutorial, but like a few days later, you're gonna forget it because you didn't get the practical knowledge. So getting the practical knowledge is the key. Another thing that I have observed in the self-teaching process is that the curiosity to learn the glamorous stuff and skip the fundamentals. So let's say you want to learn linear regression. What ends up happening is when you're self-teaching, you have a tendency to jump to the linear regression directly and not study the math behind it, not study the statistics behind it, and not study like what goes behind it. It's very easy to pick up a Python library and apply, or our library, and run a linear regression in RStudio or using Python. But what does a linear regression actually means? So this is one of the common mistakes that I see a lot of self-taught data scientists making, is that not understanding the basics and not understanding the fundamentals behind each concept, because understanding the basics and understanding the fundamentals builds your foundation. So you start at the basic and then you build on top of it. You don't start here and then you struggle with what happened here and how you came here. So spend some time learning the fundamentals. It's not going to be very exciting. It's not going to be as exciting in building linear regression. There is some groundwork that you need to kind of put in to understand the math behind it, understand the statistics behind it, and understand like why exactly are we doing it, what we are doing, and what it actually means when we are applying linear regression, what is happening in the back end. It's very easy to use the library, but it's hard to understand under the hood what's happening. And the last one, which is somewhat close to my heart, is a lot of the self-taught data scientists, they put in the work. They know how to do their day-to-day job in a way, like they know how to do data science, they know how it works, but they forget that there is something called interview. Knowing how to work in data science and then interviewing in a limited time frame and answer questions that you typically won't do in your day-to-day is a very different challenge in itself. So if you are on your self-taught data science learning journey, make sure that you are dedicating time to prepare for the interviews. And before even doing the interviews, you're actually doing the research on what you need to prepare for your interviews. And then treating it as like a project in itself, and putting in the work to prepare for the interviews, prepare for the coding exercises, prepare for the statistics and ML questions, prepare for the fundamental questions that could be asked of you. So make sure that you are dedicating time to interview prep to be able to get a job. Because I'm sure the reason that you're learning data science, I'm sure like a lot of you are curious and just want to know what it is, but a lot of us are learning data science because we want to get a job. So learning is great, but you need to land that job. And in order to land that job, you need to have solid interview chops to be able to get to the final stage of landing a job offer. All right, with that, I hope this was useful. Let me know in comments, what are some of your learnings from the self-teaching data science journey and what you wish you could have done better. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you're having a great day. I will talk to you in another video. Bye.